Stupidly expensive things Formula One drivers own. Hello and welcome to our channel. Please like, follow, and subscribe to our channel for more video updates. In today's video, we are going to talk about stupidly expensive things Formula One drivers own. $1 million watches and $100,000 in jewelry. $10 million automobiles. F1 drivers spend their earnings on some fairly pricey items, but it may get out of hand because one driver's purchase nearly bankrupted an F1 team, and another driver went on a multi-million-dollar shopping spree. Lando Norris purchased a watch that is likely costlier than you earn in a year. Because Lando was feeling fantastic, he casually spent $200,000 on one of the worst watches I've ever seen. I mean, I could understand if he had purchased a Rolex or anything, but the fact that he chose to get this monstrosity, a custom, one-of-a-kind Richard Mille with a McLaren theme, is not even the worst part, because Lando was robbed while watching a football game, and the robber took the Richard Mille. Lando actually purchased a $200,000 watch, only to lose it a few months later. But that wasn't the only thing he spent his money on. Due to the fact that this guy, after securing a brand new $80 million contract with McLaren, utilized his millions of dollars to launch a 7-figure esports squad. Lando spent more than 100 G's on his own esports team, Quadrant. And this isn't your typical esports team. A team dedicated to producing the best Formula One material in the world has also reached 50 million views since the organization's inception. Due to Lando Norris's addiction, having too much money might occasionally be a curse. A severe addiction to what has cost him thousands of dollars since 𝐓𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐤 Lando began to stream video games more frequently. Lewis Hamilton went completely bonkers by spending tens of thousands of dollars on shopping sprees and buying million-dollar supercars. Lewis even invested $1 million in a yacht in 2009. Lewis did decide to purchase a boat, but not just any boat. This one has a professional chef-size galley, exquisite walnut carpeting, a sizable entertainment system, and is completely air-conditioned. However, that was back in 2009. Since then, he has discovered a method to surpass this extravagant yacht with an $11.3 million automobile. We all know that Lewis adores his Pagani Zondas, and even though they have some of the best engine sounds, the handling is so bad that Lewis decided to give up the car and sell it to a buyer for $11.3 million. While $11.3 million is the most Lewis has ever spent on anything, at least what I'm aware of, Lewis is currently attempting to break that record with his largest purchase yet, a complete soccer club. He is trying to get his hands on Chelsea FC. Even though Lewis is worth over $300 million, he can't afford to purchase the second largest soccer team in the entire Premier League, so he teamed up with a British billionaire. In May 2022, they lost out on an American billionaire who offered to pay $2 billion more. But Lewis was determined to spend his money because after purchasing a $2.7 million Mercedes-Benz AMG Project 1, the road version of the car he races in Formula One, he made the decision to purchase the same car and present it as a gift to his father. See, developing, Lewis's father worked incredibly hard to provide his son with the opportunities to succeed, holding down multiple jobs while also supporting his son's love of kart racing by purchasing the best cars for him with the money he had. It paid off because Lewis went on to earn hundreds of millions of dollars racing Formula One, and purchasing the car was his way of repaying his father. But it doesn't stop there, because after purchasing a yacht, a $10 million car, and 2 identical race cars, Lewis made the decision to enter the food industry because he felt that being an F1 driver and a fashion star wasn't enough. Lewis Hamilton is not the only Formula One legend who enjoys purchasing pricey items. In 2006, Kimi Räikkönen purchased a $3.5 million yacht, and what he did with it helped turn him into the legend he is today while competing in the Monaco Grand Prix. However, there's a catch. It is entirely vegan. Kimi had to leave the race early due to a car fire, and after exiting the vehicle, he started walking in the wrong direction. Instead of going back to his garage, he ended up at the Monaco Pier, where his yacht was parked, where he spent the remainder of the afternoon relaxing and drinking beer. Well, that will go down in history. Kimi made history again when he nearly bankrupted the Lotus Formula One team in 2012. Kimi had taken a break from Formula One for a couple of years and then returned. He was immediately picked up by Team Lotus, who had been having trouble with inconsistent results for the previous couple of seasons. As a result, Team Lotus offered Kimi a contract that paid him $50,000 for every point he earned over the course of 2 seasons. Boy, was that a bad idea. After the 2 years that Kimmy raced for the team, he earned over 390 points, which amounted to earnings of nearly $20 million, in addition to Kimmy's wage, resulting in financial problems for Lotus, who couldn't afford to pay Kimmy his money. But only a few years later, things started to get worse, because the Lotus team would fail, all because they weren't subscribed to the channel. If you don't subscribe, Kimmy's going to go bankrupt, and you'll have to sell your house, your parents' house, and even the phone you're using to watch this video. Lotus couldn't afford to pay Kimmy, and to this day, they still owe him money. Kimmy recently purchased one of the most expensive watches ever possessed by a Formula One driver, thanks to his recent financial success. There are only 30 Richard Milles in the world that are specifically manufactured with Kimmy's name on them, and they are white and red. Lewis wishes he had his own personalized Richard Mille because he's jealous. It's hardly surprising that some F1 drivers have outrageous watches because they adore watches, especially Richard Mille watches. Daniel Ricciardo, who spent $280,000 on a rose gold Petite Philippe Nautilus that made him famous by putting him in the company of Drake, LeBron James, and the Queen as the owner of the watch. But that's nothing compared to the time he spent $2 million on a unique green Richard Mille model number 6202. And it doesn't stop there, because he also has another Richard Mille worth over $1.2 million. This guy has literally spent $5 million on watches. If Fernando's watch was never stolen, the over $1 million Richard Mille was made in honor of Asano Naganori, the head of the famed brand of Samurai. Richard Mille decided to give Charles Leclerc his very own custom Richard Mille, made in his country's red and white colors. But while Charles was interacting with fans and signing autographs, someone managed to steal the watch right off his wrist. Charles didn't realize what had happened until he checked into his hotel, but by then it was too late. After winning his first Formula One World Championship, Nico decided to retire, capping his career on a high note and declining a potential $100 million contract. With F1 in the past, Nico started to develop a new addiction, purchasing rare cars and reviewing them on his YouTube channel. While Charles lost a $300,000 watch, Nico's addiction cost him to lose much more. Nico was spending outrageous sums of money on these incredibly rare cars, but he just couldn't help himself. He'd purchase one car, then another a few months later, and then another, until he was spending tens of millions of dollars on these cars. This $2 million blacked-out supercar, which resembles a Ferrari and a McLaren combined, was the most insane vehicle to date. In addition to being entirely electric and having a different motor for each wheel, the vehicle is also incredibly rare. Only 150 of these will ever be produced. Nico possessed many Mercedes, a Ferrari F40, and even his own race vehicle. Now, everyone wants to buy expensive things. Some may want to buy because it's the brand, and the others want to buy because of the quality that it is providing. There's no wrong in buying expensive stuff, until it is serving the purpose that makes you happy and content. Everyone takes the definition of expensive in their own way. People may not be in favor of buying expensive things, as Thomas Sowell said. Too much of what is called education is little more than an expensive isolation from reality. With that, we have come to the end of our video. Thanks for watching, and guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon so you can watch more upcoming videos. Also, share your thoughts in the comment box.